The story for today is Gideon and the 300 men. Then all the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him, and he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet them. Wow, so it seems Gideon has lots of men to help him to fight the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the people of the east. I can imagine that that's a really big army, right? So Gideon will need lots of men. Let's keep reading the story and find out more. And Gideon said unto God, If thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. Gideon wanted a sign from God to prove that he would defeat the Midianites as God said. Could you imagine that the rain was falling, but it was only falling over on your umbrella, but no place else? What would you think? Well, Gideon wanted God to do something similar to that, only the fleece to be wet and no place else. That seems impossible, right? Do you think God can do it? Well, let's keep reading and find out. And it was so. For when he rose up early on the morrow and thrust the fleece together and wring the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. Wow, God did it. The fleece was filled with water and the ground was dry. God is amazing, isn't he? Do you think that Gideon is now confident that he can do it? Well, let's keep reading and find out. And Gideon said unto God, Let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. Gideon wants God to give him another sign, but this time he wants God to do the opposite of what he did before. And God did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. Wow! God did it again. The fleece was dry, but the ground was wet. Do you think Gideon is ready now? Let's keep reading and find out. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh, in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. What? Too many? You need lots of men to fight, right? I think we should keep reading and find out more. Lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand hath saved me. Oh, so God does not want these men to think that because they are mighty and strong and there are lots of them, that they delivered themselves from the Midianites. God wants them to know that He is the one that did it. So let's keep reading and find out what will happen next. Now, therefore, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remain 10,000. Oh dear, can you believe it? 22,000 men were afraid. I think it's a good idea that those men left because you cannot have men that are afraid fighting a battle, right? But there are 10,000 men left. That's a lot, right? So let's keep reading and find out more. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people are yet too many. What? Still too many? Oh dear. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, This shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And whomsoever I say unto thee, This shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. So he brought down the people unto the water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, Every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knee to drink. So Gideon put the men in two groups. One group had the men who lapped up the water with their tongue. The other group had the men who lapped the water from their hands. Which group of men do you think God will choose? Well, let's keep reading and find out. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. And the Lord said unto Gideon, By the 300 men will I save you and deliver the Midianites into thine hand. And let all the other people go, every man unto his place. So he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto
Bye
his tent,
bye.
and retained those 300 men. So God chose the men who put their hands to their mouth to
Hmm?
drink and send the rest home. But wait a minute, that's only 300 men. Can 300 men defeat that great big army? Yes, they can, because God is with them. But I wonder, how is Gideon feeling? I think we should keep reading and find out. And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, Arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand. But if thou fear to go down, Go thou with Phurah thy servant down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterwards shall thine hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. So it's time for battle. But Gideon has 300 men, so maybe he's not feeling as confident as he should. So God is telling him, if you're still feeling afraid, go down to the tent of the Midianites and you will hear what they're saying. Do you think Gideon will go down? All right, let's read and find out. Then went he down with his servant onto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude. That means there were a lot of them, right? And their camels were without number, as the sand by the seaside for multitude. And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, Behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian and came unto a tent and smote it that it fell and overturned it, that the tent lay along. And his fellow answered and said, This is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the host. Wow. So this is why God sent Gideon down to the Midianites to hear this dream. I wonder if Gideon is now feeling confident after he heard this dream. Let's find out. And it was so. When Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, Arise, for the Lord hath delivered into your hand the host of Midian. Wow, so now Gideon is ready. He heard the dream, he heard the interpretation, he praised God, and now he's ready for battle. Let's keep reading. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand, with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. Wait a minute. Are they going to battle? Don't they need sword and shield? Why do they need trumpets, lamps, and pitchers? I think we should keep reading. And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall he do. When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow he the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So these men need to follow Gideon's instruction. Hmm. I hope you're not questioning Gideon and wondering what is he doing. I hope they keep following. Let's keep reading. and find out. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came onto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they blew the trumpets and break the pitchers that were in their hand. And the three companies blew the trumpets and break the pitchers. And they cried, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." And they stood every man in his place round about the camp. And all the host ran and cried and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets. And the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the hosts. And the hosts fled. Wow. They were so confused that they started to fight each other. So Gideon's army did not need any sword at all. They were just blowing their trumpets and they held their light high. But the Midianites, they are fighting themselves and running away from each other. Oh dear. What a battle! No sword, trumpets, and lamps. This is amazing. God is amazing. Let's keep reading and find out more. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, out of Asher, and out of all Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, "Come down against the Midianites." Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew them. I can imagine that when the men who were afraid, along with those who were sent home, heard that God delivered the Midianite army into the hands of Gideon, they began to feel brave and ready to help, and killed 2 of their princes. After this, Gideon and the 300 men continued pursuing the Midianites, and Gideon killed the 2 Midianite kings, Zebah and Zalmunna. Thus was Midian subdued before the children of Israel, so that they lifted up their heads no more, and the country was in quietness 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age and was buried in the sepulchre of Joash, his father, in Ophrah. Wow, that was such an amazing battle. God did as he promised. He used Gideon to defeat the Midianite army. When God is on our side, we never need to be afraid. God is amazing. Have you ever been asked to do something, and even though you've practiced, when the time comes, you still feel like you can't do it? Well, some things feel hard to do sometimes, like telling others about Christ, standing up for Jesus, or even against someone who is saying bad things about Jesus. You may feel nervous. You may feel like you don't have the right words. You may even feel like you're not the right person for the job. This reminds me of Moses, when God told him to save the Israelites from Pharaoh. He thought he wasn't the right person for the job too. And Gideon, when God told him to save his people from the Midianites. The Bible tells us in Philippians 4 verse 13 that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So, tell God the truth about how you are feeling and ask Him to help you to be brave, just like Gideon and many others in the Bible. Thank you so much for listening to the story with me today. God bless you. See you next time. Bye.